Hi, our project is on towards robust blood vessel segmentation for retinal image across datasets. My name is Mike Chen, and this work is done in collaboration with Xinghe Zhang and Wenyu Huang for the course probabilistic graphical models. Blood vessel segmentation from raw retinal images is an important task in the field of medical image analyses because it can be crucial for the diagnosis of various diseases. However, there are two major challenges when using machine learning algorithms to solve this task. First, we have extremely limited amount of labeled data, and often the physicians who label the data label it with inconsistent styles. Second, the image are captured differently, resulting in differences in the resolutions, brightness, and other factors. So the data sets can be very different from each other. In reality, we often need to train on given data sets and inference on unseen data. Therefore, we need to develop an automated process to perform the segmentation task, and it should be robust against the inconsistency across data sets. In this project, we use three different data sets, the Chase DB1, STARE, and DRIVE. As mentioned before, the physicians who label the data label it very differently. For instance, the vessels labeled in STARE are the simplest ones. However, in DRIVE, the annotation is very detailed. In addition, the images in these datasets have very different color tones, resolutions. Therefore, we assume that the three datasets have different data distributions, and we consider this problem as a domain adaptation problem. In this case, our domain is the dataset distribution. Here's an outline for our model. First, for our method, first we will briefly introduce our baseline model, Internet, and then we explore various data normalization techniques such as reshaping and cropping the images, as well as training the model on two datasets and testing it on the third one. Lastly, we attempted to solve the domain adaptation problem by augmenting Internet with a domain discriminator and apply domain adversarial training.
The state-of-art model for blood vessel segmentation task is the Ethernet, which is an iterative model based on UNet, a model known for fast and precise image segmentation. After predicting with the original UNet, Ethernet will feed the output of UNet as input to the next mini UNets. According to the others, it can find the connection of vessel neighbors and connect them like human experts would usually do. The three datasets came in different shape to help generalize the datasets and to enable ourselves to combine data more freely. We cropped and resized all images to the same shape. In terms of domain adaptation, we chain a joint feature extractor for both the segmentation and discrimination task. The feature extractor in this case is the Ethernet. After the feature extractor, the feature vectors are split into two branches. One is the segmentation head. Since it is unsupervised setting, we only produce the segmentation result for inputs in the source domain, and the loss are back propagated accordingly. For the discrimination task, for examples in both the source and target domain, a binary classification decision is made regarding whether they belong to the source domain or not. And during the backpropagation, the updates are taken in the reverse gradient direction.
Here is the outline of our results. First, we introduce our evaluation metrics. Second, we show the results overview. Third, we will show the results after we crop and reshape the images. Next, we will show the results after we train on two datasets. Finally, we will show the results of after we add domain discriminator to the Ethernet. We will use F-measure as our metrics. F-measure achieves a balance between the precision and recall. Since retinal vessel images are mostly black, we will often have more false negatives, and usually precision is much greater than recall. Here is an overview of all the experiments we conducted. We will break down the details in the following slides. When trained on the original dataset, the model did particularly well on testing on the same dataset, but it performed much worse on the cross-dataset testing. The cross-dataset testing performances are more balanced for the 3 experiments on the right-hand side. This suggests that cropping and reshaping images in different datasets is helpful in cross-dataset training. When training the model on 2 different datasets, the model is more generalized and performed better in cross-dataset testing. For instance, compared to training on stare and chase alone, when training on both datasets combined, the model performed better on testing on the drive dataset. In this figure, the blue bar represents the F1 score on the target dataset when we apply domain adversarial training, and the green bar shows the baseline performance. We can clearly see the improvement segmentation results on the target domain when we apply domain adversarial training. In this figure, similarly, the blue bar is F1 score when we apply domain adversarial training, and the green bar is the baseline performance. We observed significant increased performance for stare dataset when it is the source, but performance decreased when it is the target. One possible reason for this is that the images in stare are much more distinct than the other 2 datasets. The blood vessel labeled in stare are simpler, and there are less thin, detailed labeled vessels. To have a more direct understanding, we print out the visualizations on different layers. Here is a table of visualizations of the outputs of each UNet modules. The model is trained separately with a single dataset or 2 datasets combined, and then tested on each individual datasets. As suggested in these results, when multiple datasets are trained together, their features are combined. For instance, the labelings in the stare dataset are sparse compared to the other 2 datasets. So when drive and stare are trained together, the output labelings are sparser than the drive dataset trained alone. In conclusion, we found the following helps reduce the inconsistencies across datasets on model prediction. First, the cropping and reshaping images to the same size helped normalize the data. Second, by training on more than 1 datasets, we generalized the model more. Third, by implementing the domain adversarial training, we were able to further reduce the discrepancies among datasets. So far, we empirically showed that the distribution of the stare dataset is very different from the other 2. So we would like to further investigate the cause of this discrepancy and address this difference. We also noticed the difference in labels due to the physicians' different styles, and we would like to study how to work around it. We would also like to experiment on other methods that account for distributional difference. Lastly, since there are limited training samples, we would love to look into learning methods such as the one-shot learning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.